and so we never interfere in what these artists are doing, and that's the strength of Pirelli Calendar.
Fabulous. Thank you very much, Mr. Stronghead. I'll let you take your seat for this. Many people in the room, including Annie and indeed some of the subjects of the calendar, haven't seen this film. You know, none of you have either. It's very, very revealing because some of the subjects are used to being photographed, some are not at all. So it is in the hands of the creator of the calendar, not just to pick a theme and choose those women that she wanted to celebrate, but also to make them look and feel their best when they get their chance in the spotlight. So have a look and see what happened backstage as the Pirelli calendar for 2016 was created.
Talked about doing another calendar, and I started thinking about the roles that women play, important women who've made great achievements in who they are and what they do, and Pirelli gave me that freedom. They said, we want to do a departure.
The issue of women and women's rights is extremely relevant today and very important, and I love the fact that Pirelli is taking a look at that and putting a magnifying glass on it.
Get up, stand up for your rights.
I was extremely intrigued when I found out that Annie Leibovitz was going to be shooting the calendar. In fact, that was the key reason that I was interested in doing it. This is taking a look at real women who are working and making a difference in the world.
Get up, stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up, don't give up the fight.
Now, race is one of those topics in America that makes people extraordinarily uncomfortable. It is literally the conversational equivalent of touching the third rail.
I get this email saying Annie is shooting this calendar. So I asked my husband about it. I said, do you know about the Pirelli calendar? Like, what do you know about this and what do you think? And he said, you know, they're very sexy. And I said, well, she's doing something different. She is doing a calendar about women of achievement. I think that's what women like me have been dreaming of. That's what we want to be known for, what we've accomplished, and what we're fighting for. Not only for women, but also for minorities. I mean, remember, I'm both. We're called double jeopardy. We've got both.
Don't give up the fight. Walk with me now. Walk with me now. All alone, this tear's journey. Won't you walk with me?
I'm proud that I started as an independent filmmaker. The challenging thing is as you move into higher budgets to still keep the independent spirit, especially as a woman of color. You know, so many of the films that I make, you know, people of color are centered, and something I take very seriously. To have an institution like the Pirelli calendar at this point, in this cultural moment, decide to do something different. It's welcomed, it's something that I champion, that's why I wanted to be a part of it. And so I love that they're embracing the moment that we're in. It's a very powerful moment for women around the world in all categories.
Sometimes I feel like throwing my hands up in the air. I know I can count on you.
Being a black girl playing tennis, I hope and I'd like to represent something iconic, something that people really would like to be and people that really would like to do.
Sometimes I feel like throwing my hands up in the air.
people can really relate to me because I don't hide who I am. Annie definitely shot something in me that not only do I like, I love. It shows a different side. I love being one of the first, one of the pioneers, and I think that's really exciting to be inspiring to other people.
Sometimes I feel like saying, Lord, I just don't care. But you got the love I need to see me through.
It's always been this extraordinary tradition when it comes to the Pirelli calendar, and I started to think about doing a great classic set of portraits of women and not worrying about if they were wearing clothes or not.
We were talking about how much fun it's going to be in the calendar, and we're really happy that it's not a nude calendar.
Especially at my age.
If you can make something and get something from your imagination and apply it to a piece of art, you can really develop yourself as a person.
I was photographing Agnes down for Vanity Fair, and I was in her kitchen and I saw a photograph of her with this young girl, and it turned out it was her granddaughter. And so when I called Agnes and asked if she would sit for this portrait, I then asked if I could photograph her with her granddaughter, and she was thrilled.
I think it's really relevant, the direction that the calendar went in this year. I think it shows that women are finally moving kind of into the forefront as really creative people and inspiring people, and that's really cool to be a part of.
I'm a rebel, so I thought it's good to do something that's different. If it's not something that is different, I don't do it.
The way you wear your hat, the way
With Annie Lopez, she's an artist herself, so she's not that easy. She would say, oh no, let's try again. Let's try something else, you know. Always thinking. And I like that.
My work is simply my response to the world that I live in and my experience as a human being. It really is an embodiment of Iranian identity. It's really that clash between terribly dark history but beautiful ancient history. It was immensely interesting to be in the hands of another photographer, especially Annie Lopez. For this calendar to pay tribute to women at all ages who have accomplished something but still are quite dignified in terms of the way they look at themselves and their bodies and their looks. It's quite a statement, but I think it's a relevant one for our time.
I never wanted to be a musician. I wanted always to be a writer. I would say more that the realm of performance chose me. I think that the concept of Annie's calendar is strong, bold, and in keeping
with Pirelli's expression of showing women as beautiful within and without. I asked for them to play Wagner, which is empowering even in its sorrow. When she said, "I got it," then I knew she had it. And when she said that, I knew everything would be fine.
Naked Heart Foundation was born out of pain. That's how it ended up the most important element of my life. I think Annie is always looking for strength, and I was very moved by her vision of the calendar and how she picked these women who inspire her. Today, society is moving towards embracing all kinds of women and empowering them further to do more, to say more, to be stronger. And I'm very happy for Pirelli Calendar that it's going in that same direction.
Seguidores no mundo, uma espécie de Kim Kardashian mundial, só dezenas de vezes mais do que a Kim Kardashian. Ela faz o prefácio do calendário. Mais de 70 milhões de seguidores nas mídias sociais.
没有想到，就是有一天，然后我也可以做一个对别人有影响的女性。开微博已经有5年的时间，就是我在那个时候没有想到说，我在一个平台上说话可以让这么多人来关注。
I edit this site for teenage girls. I'm a feminist. I am kind of a pop culture nerd, and one group that will focus on today are teens. I taste the wet salt on their hearts, of everyone who's ever seen this place. I'm not the last one here. There's a pile of us. What a long half life. Well, I think my age brought a lot of attention, and then I think there were also enough people who liked what I was writing that they kept reading it. It made more sense to be a website because I wanted Rookie to be accessible, and I didn't want it to cost money to read, and I wanted girls who read it to be able to easily find one another. It's as good as it can be. I'm really glad that I have something that I love doing, like writing, where if you want to wake up in the morning and just write, you don't need an audience, you don't need to audition, you can just do it. It's so nice to live in New York now because you're surrounded by people all the time, and the pace in that way is really intoxicating.
People who are young have a huge advantage, which is they look young. People confuse fashion and style. You know, style you have, fashion you can buy. Abby, she's an old friend I've known for a long time. She took my picture in the 80s for Playboy, where I was clothed. All the other girls in Playboy were naked. Now she's taking all these women clothed in a calendar where there used to be naked girls. So perhaps clothed women are going to have a moment. Most people, when I say most people, I mean me, what you want in front of it is to look good. The calendar itself, I'm certain that this will be surprising. I mean, I was surprised when I read about it. I said, I thought it was a joke. The Pirelli calendar, really? Believe me, I do not think naked girls are gone out of fashion. But it's interesting that people are interested in also other women, or other kinds of women, or different ways of looking at women.
Ask your doctor if birth control is right for you. Then ask your boss if birth control is right for you. Ask your boss to ask his priest.
I admire comedy so much. It's like the original performance art. And Amy Schumer's chartering a new course in areas that people were afraid to touch before.
No refills? I have to go through all this again next month?
Yep. See you then. Yep.
So I got there and I met Annie, and she said she had an idea that it could be funny if I was the one who didn't get the memo that there was going to be clothing this year. And I was like, great, let's do it. Nudity. I'm 34 and, you know, everything's about to drop, so let's get a shot of it while we got it up there. And it was really cool. I'm sitting in a chair, and so my instinct is to kind of like try to make things look like they look in magazines or the images we've seen. And she's like, well, no, kind of slump over and let your stomach out. I felt I looked more beautiful than I've ever felt in my life. And I felt like it would bring me.
Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper.
This calendar is so completely different. It's a whole other concept. And the whole idea was not to have any pretense in these pictures and be very straightforward and show these women exactly like who they are. Every single day we photographed, I was more empowered, you know, with every photograph we took.
Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper. People gonna rise up, get their share. People gonna rise up, take what's theirs.
And you heard what some of the subjects said. Serena Williams saying she didn't just like it, she loved it. Amy Schumer saying she'd never felt more beautiful or more like herself. And this isn't just a calendar, this is a statement, and this is a reflection of women in the 21st century. It's a reflection of women with power and women with talent. And the creator of it, Annie Leibovitz, has done something unique. We're going to hear from her in just a moment. We will also hear from 3 of the subjects, the iconic subjects of this calendar. You will have a chance to ask questions at the end. If I could just ask you to wait for one of our team who's got a microphone, and when you stand up, just identify yourself and the media outlet that you're working for. And also, it may help you to know that you've all got a set of headphones because some of these answers will be given in Mandarin, so you will get a translation of that in those headphones. It's wonderful. Melody Hobson said this is something that women like her have been dreaming of. It's something a lot of us have been dreaming of. Let's find out more about the concept, the diverse talents of the women who are celebrated from the one and only Annie Leibovitz.
Por que tem que pôr o fone? Vai ter gente que vai falar em mandarim.
She says, it's a democracy, do not leave me up here on my own, so I won't. Let's also welcome up 3 of the stars of the calendar, because, as I said earlier, some of them are used to being photographed, some of them are not. First, one of the most influential women in the world of art, as a collector, a supporter of artists, a tireless advocate for arts education, Agnes Gund. With her granddaughter. I think one of my favourite moments in that video is them discussing the fact it wasn't a nude shoot. Also with us today, the talented teenager who is a cultural icon. She can write, she can act, she can sing, she can invent, she can influence. She's the feminist force of fashion. Tabby Gevinson. And finally, an actress who has more than 71 people hanging on her every word on the social media site Weibo. She's a Goodwill Ambassador in China for the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. Please welcome Yao Chen. Make yourself comfortable. So first of all, Annie, let's talk about the concept and indeed the criteria that the women you chose had to fulfill. What qualities were you looking for?
I think it built as it went along. I tell you quite honestly, when Pirelli first came to me and said they wanted to shift this year to something different, I looked at them straight in the face and I said, after all these years of the Pirelli calendar and what it's been, I don't think you can shift it that fast. I don't think you can just suddenly do something else. And I actually made a suggestion that they, that maybe we do, either women performance artists or women comedians, sort of almost a takeoff on a Pirelli calendar. It was sort of left up in the air, and I went off. I was shooting Rihanna in Cuba. And they had sent out some feelers to some people. I believe Kathleen Kennedy and Melody Hobson, came back and said, we want to do it. And then I knew I was in trouble.
Well, because Kathleen says it's not shame to do it because of you.
But the truth is, people were agreeing to it, and people that I admired and cared about, and it sort of built from there. Serena, got right on board. And I just thought of women that I admired, literally, bless Pirelli's heart. I didn't let anyone in the studio from Pirelli. It really became a very strong set of very simple portraits, and as each woman walked in, we couldn't believe that the women. I still can't believe the women agreed to do it. Did it, and I felt a big responsibility to that. Literally. In this calendar, what is so unique is there's a long paragraph about each woman and the work that they do. And I was impressed with the film because I thought the film was better than the calendar on some level, because you can really see who these women are right away and what they do. And I'm really proud of. It grew. It was sort of like having a party. When someone heard that Serena Williams was doing it, then just in fact, Amy Schumer was the last one to sort of jump in, and we were very lucky, to get her. So anyway, yes.
But I mentioned earlier that you gave them all a hug at the end because you know how much they're giving of themselves. Now, someone like Amy is great for going along with, by the way, a brilliant joke. But it's not easy to sit there with no clothes on? I don't think, I have no idea, but you know.
For Amy, I mean, I remember I had the idea, and I did, you know, usually when you have an idea like that, you don't call up, you know, the publicist or something and say, by the way, we want Amy. You wait till Amy gets there, and then you say, Amy, I have this idea, and she got it completely. She, you know, she's so bright, and she got the whole that it was a concept, that she was going to be, you know, that it was going to be an important, you know, aspect of the pictures. She was willing to play that role. And, you know, and I said, are you I was worried for her, and I said, are you self-conscious? You know, I mean, you know, like, she said, are you kidding? I love my mom. You know, she's just, she loves her mom.
Let me ask the three of you who were the subjects and the other end of Annie's lens about the impact that you think a calendar like this can have on the wider world, and also the reason that you said yes. So Agnes, first of all.
Well, a couple of reasons. I've long admired Annie. I admired her especially when she was friends with Susan Sontag, and who I also thought a great deal of. And I used to see them at down at Da Savano in the village, or the village, I guess, Tribeca now. And I really thought also that I love Italy. Italy is my favorite country outside of my own. And I have two dogs, one named Giotto, who's a very famous, I think, one of the most transitionary, wonderful artists that ever was. And another dog named Bronzino, who happens to be an Italian water dog, which I think none of you know of, but this year at Madison Square Garden was the first year that they let Italian water dogs be part of it. So it was very exciting, and so that was the reason. And when she asked me to bring Sadie, it really, really made me so happy, because I adore her. She's my second grandchild. She was my daughter's child who lived in New York and is a filmmaker too. And she was so excited when she heard it was Annie. And then we got down there for getting her hair done and everything, and in walked Serena Williams. Well, I thought Sadie was going to drop it. She said, this is one of the greatest days of my life. So it was very exciting, and has been. And I think for somebody to recognize an older person, I realize I'm not as old as Yoko Ono, but I certainly look older. So I consider myself the oldest person there.
You understand art, you know the power that it has. What do you think this calendar will say to women in other countries?
Well, I think it says something that is needed to be said, and that is that women have strengths that are far beyond what they've been credited to. Women, I'm still working on getting the ERA passed in our country, and I think that women, I've worked so hard, I collect a lot of women artists. I think women have been, I did a paper, and I've done a number of papers on, and posts, Huffington Post on women artists and how they should be considered equal, and the reason they're not, and they don't get the prices that they should at auction, or even the recognition that they should, is because they're not thought to be as good investments as male artists. And I've had gallerists tell me that when I've tried to interest them in showing some women artists. I think it will make a big difference, because it says, look at the variety of women there are and what they can do. And I know some of the other members, and I've just met some of the great new ones that I didn't know, but I think Sharon Nisra is an artist that I follow. She was a good friend of my brother George's, and I also love Patti Smith. She's a great friend of Klaus Wiesenbach, and because I am on the chairman of the board of PS1, Klaus, who directs that, knows her very well. Plus also did the show Yoko Ono at the MoMA. So there's a lot of people. Friendly Boots has been an old friend of mine and one of my best friends, Catherine Walker. And so I really was excited and pleased by the people that Annie had chosen. And I think Pirelli was wonderful to give her that leeway, because I think I don't usually like to be photographed because of the way I look, so I wouldn't have gone into it if I hadn't had not only Annie's support, but my granddaughter being there. I used to take my granddaughter when she was very little, and I'd take her for the night or to go to something for me. And one time we went to the Governor's Awards, and because Ellsworth Kelly was getting an award, I came to Tito Puente, who was getting the award. It was about an hour and a half into it, and Sadie turned to me and said in her 3-year-old voice, could we leave now? And I thought, that's the way she's been. She's willing to go in to do things and to make it really a great interest of hers in going all over the world. She went to India for 7 weeks to help with a Bard College group, and she's going to take her second year in Rio this year because she loves Brazil and she's taken intensive Portuguese, and so she's willing to really go around. Somebody said they're not going to be able to tell that she isn't Brazilian. She looks
It's a wonderful, it really is, it's a wonderful portrait of both of you. Tabby, I wanted to ask you about the impact that you think the calendar will have, but also what you want your portrait and your inclusion in this to say to teenagers.
Well, I was really excited when I was asked to be involved, and I think one thing that's so exciting about it now is that even though only a few thousand people get the calendar, with the internet, more people will be able to see the images, and I hope that it's an encouraging message to other young people that I have been welcomed into a group of people I admired. A few years ago when I was still in high school, my friend and I went to a Patti Smith show and waited for her in the alley, unsuccessfully. So it was really an honor to be involved, and I want young people and the people who read my work to know that they should try making stuff and putting themselves out there, even if they feel intimidated by everything that's influenced them and everyone who's come before them.
I noticed when you were watching the film, you find it very difficult to look at yourself on that. But having seen the final image and what Annie created with you, do you feel more confident now? It's stunning. It's an absolutely beautiful picture, and actually I might come to Annie on this as well, but do you feel, having seen it now, are you happy?
Oh yes, video's totally different. I actually cut my hair this length on this shoot. I went in with the longer hair, which you saw, and then I had been wanting to cut it, and the hairstylist relayed this to Annie, that I actually wanted to buzz my head. I'm glad we didn't go that short, but, and then you came, and you were like, what's going on? And I said, I'm going through a change. And she said, oh, okay. So we did photos before and after. And for me in that moment in my life, it gave me a lot of confidence to have this moment documented in that way.
I just want to add, I think, you said such an important thing, that I was really lucky when I was young to working at Rolling Stone magazine. I was 19, 20, 21. But I remember the empowerment about being taken seriously when you're young, and how it sort of sets your path for you. And I think it's a very important thing that you said, that as a young person, that you've embraced, you've taken that and you're running with it. And I just didn't see it that way when. I knew it was a young person among this group, a very accomplished young person, to include you, but you've you've added another dimension, which is, of course, very right. Well done, Tom.
Thank you so much. Thank you for asking me to do it.
Oh gosh, I feel like we need more than 12 months. That's the reality. It's not like there's a beginning and an end, and it was hard to even, it was hard to stop. We could have gone on, and anyway.
Ms. Yao, can I ask you about what you think the response will be in China to the calendar in total, to you being in it, and why you said yes?
Ela vai falar em chinês aí,
不好意思，我的英文太烂了，只好用母语回答。我在6月份的时候接受到安妮这边的邀请，拍摄贝奈利年历。当时我的第一反应是，为什么会是我？因为看上去我并没有傲人的3围。然后，我的先生是一个电影摄影师，然后。他得到这个消息的第一反应是说：“哇，你一定要拍！说安妮是世界上最伟大的摄影师之一。就你一定要拍，我不建议你脱光去拍。然后，当时我们都很兴奋。后来我们知道这一次的贝奈利年历是要展现最有力量的女性，跟以往是完全不一样的。我们就更开心。但很可惜当时因为拍戏的原因，我们没有时间，就是没有办法来到纽约。我们很遗憾，我们当时想。错过了一个那么好的一个能够见到安妮的机会，然后没想到1个月以后，我们又再次接到安妮的电话，说她在那个时间正好可以拍摄，而我们在那个时间也正好来到纽约，我觉得就像是天作之合，就像是一次命运的安排，尤其刚才看到这个视频里的13位女性，我觉得我是她们中的一份子，我觉得好骄傲。
Brilliant. I managed to have the Italian translation first of all, which didn't go so well. But anyway, I did hear most of that, and the bit that you would heard, Annie, is she said yes, and basically advised her friend who also said it doesn't matter if it's me, just do it. And obviously it turns out that it wasn't.
E daí ela conseguiu
When
fazer.
you look at the calendar
Ela tem mais de 70 milhões de seguidores nas mídias sociais.
Are you somebody who can say, yes, that was exactly how I want it to be? Or do you still go, I wish I'd done that?
Gente, eu não conhecia essa Yao Chen, vocês conheciam?
I think there is power in the series, and I do think that each of the photographs have like a sister, and it's 12, 13, sisters basically, and that's what makes it strong. Is when you see the collection, how diverse we are, as people and women, and so I'm happy with that. I do think there is that longing of you don't want it to stop. I mean, it seems sort of strange to put it into a calendar. You know what I mean? It's like, because it was such a great series. I mean, that's what we were doing with it, and hence the look of it being almost like a book, with the paragraph on each woman, and almost a poster-like. Am I happy with it? I don't know. Don't ask me.
Well, let's open to the floor now for questions from members of the media. And as I say, do identify. Can we just have a little bit more light in the main room? Identify yourself, the media outlets that you are working for. We've got Federica, Fabio,
do mundo inteiro aqui para acompanhar o lançamento do calendário da Pirelli, tá?
We did accomplish something together, and I'm very, very proud of it, and I'm proud of Pirelli for taking that step to
A gente só mostrou o make-off do calendário no começo do vídeo. Quando terminar a transmissão, pode dar o play de novo, tá? E no final a gente vai mostrar também.
I mean, I love to take
Claro,
something
daqui a pouco
that you
vocês vão
wouldn't
ter o
expect.
post no site, né? Só
that
correr lá
and
e
make
ver
it
todas as
something,
fotos.
make something out of it, you know, and I'm not afraid of that, you know. And when I was asked in the year 2000, for the very first time, I did a whole series of news. I never really had done news before, and I did them with Mark Morris dancers, and it was an incredible exercise. So it's wonderful to be able to really be given the reins and say go do this. So I'm more proud than ever when I see this film. When I see, you know, I knew who these were. I wish I'd seen this film even before I photographed it. It's so good. Okay, sorry.
It is a great film. Yes, first question here. Hello.
Hello, my name is Anna Sankara and I'm from Polish television TVN.
Yes.
And I have a question to Annie.
Okay.
Well, so there is usually so much psychology involved in your photo shoots. So what are your methods to gain your model's trust?
Ha 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 ha. It's all smoke and mirrors. I'm very direct. You know, I think, you know, as much as it's very direct. This particular exercise for these series of pictures was to be direct. It was how to take. I actually love the Melanie Hobson and the Kathleen Kennedy pictures because they're so straightforward. There's nothing really going on with them. They're just, you know, women directed to the camera, and that became the art of it, so to speak. So I don't think there was. I think part of it, if there's any psychology, is that everyone came in and they had already said yes. So it wasn't. It was more like a responsibility how to take that, how to use their time well. We promised everyone they were going to be short sessions. They would be less than an hour. I mean, it didn't include the hair and makeup, but that was the idea. Is it would be very direct, very straightforward,
and playing their own music. That helps too. They get their music choice, don't they? You play their own music. Do you give them a hot drink? A cup of hot chocolate? Something stronger? Make them feel happy. Next question is over here. Yes, please. Thank you.
Hannah Furness from the Daily Telegraph newspaper. Question for Annie again, please. How important is it to you that this is a watershed moment for Pirelli rather than just a one-off year? And given that this is about real women and their achievements, could you please tell us what you did post-shoot in terms of digital enhancement for the photos?
In terms of what?
In terms of digitally enhancing the photos afterwards, did you do anything?
I mean, I believe in the portrait that you have a leeway, especially today, to do. You know, there's very little work done on this. It's done in black and white. That in itself is shifting from color to black and white. It's already kind of not exactly make believe, but it's again very straightforward. There might have been a little cleaning up, but everything was pretty much straightforward. It was important just to stay that way. There was something else in your question. I can't remember at the beginning.
Yeah, what was the first bit of the question?
I missed the mic now. It was about how important is it that this is.
How important is it
that this is a watershed moment for Pirelli rather than a one-off gimmick?
I don't know. It's interesting because I do think Pirelli has always given the reins over to the photographer, and I think it might be really about the choice of photographer and what's expected of them. I think that Pirelli has been wanting to do this for a few years to sort of shift. I do think on some level this stuff. I do think they came to me with a mandate that we would like to see some change, and then I didn't let them in the door while I did it. I basically kept them, kept whoever was here from Pirelli across the street, and we did it. But I don't think,
literalmente, ela não
I
deixou
don't like to think
ninguém
it was a
chegar
watershed
perto
as
do
much as
estúdio durante
a
as
shift
fotos.
and
E ela está contando que
right
as fotos
on,
tiveram
right
o
on
mínimo de retoque possível. Ela praticamente não retocou as fotos, não teve Photoshop.
Next question from Dan here, then I'll come back over to that side. So if somebody wants to ask a question
This
from that side,
is
grab the
like
microphone.
I did a project in 1989 on a book on women, and it was Susan Sontag's idea, and I said that's too big of a subject. Forget about it. It's like doing the ocean. I don't see how we can do this. And I actually was dead set against it. And then I started the process. I did a series of showgirls for Tina Brown for the New Yorker. And I came back and I started to build other photographs. And I realized how important it was, the power of the series. That's still a very popular project, the women's book that Susan wrote the essay for. And because it showed diversity, it showed, so this is not like a watershed moment. This has been going on. It's just, it really is, that Pirelli gave us this space, but this has been going on. Look at Carl Walker's Sugar Baby. I mean, this is an amazing, we're all, the reality is it's always been here. So it's just a matter of, bringing it, it's here. I'm sorry.
Next question here on the left.
Pronto, si sente? Una domanda per Anni. Gianluca Loreto, Stampa.it. Adesso il calendario Pirelli è anche online sulla piattaforma calendar.com, pirellicalendar.com. Questa nuova dimensione, non più cartacea, ha in qualche modo condizionato il lavoro di Anni, e questa forse è una domanda a cui dovrebbe rispondere, se è possibile, il Presidente Tronchetti. Il fatto che a questo punto le immagini siano così viralizzate sottrae qualcosa al concetto di esclusività del calendario? Grazie mille.
Okay. The question is about online, the fact that the calendar has now gone online and the images can go viral and everybody can see them. Is that in any way limiting for you? Does it ruin the exclusivity of it, the feeling of it being special?
I think that Tavi was just saying what it did do. That it's great to have this go out, into the world. That's more of a Pirelli question, how they feel about that. The reality is the calendar itself is still, they print very few of them, so those are collector's items, and but it is, I think it's so wonderful that this can go out and be out there.
Question from over on the right hand side. Yes,
Calendário Pirelli não é vídeo, gente.
It's working, yeah. Few that you've talked about Amy Schumer's decision for her to be nude. Can you talk through the decision process with the Serena photo as well, and sort of more generally, can Pirelli go back after this? And what's the place of the nude?
Those are all good questions. Serena isn't, first of all, Serena's not nude. It was really a body study. She has an incredible body. I photographed her for the cover of Vogue. And I remember that sitting, and I really wanted to do body studies of Serena then. And Anna Winter told me right before I went to Miami, she said, try a cover on Serena. And it was a big deal to put Serena on the cover. And I gave up my body study moment and worked hard to create a photograph of Serena that brought it on home and put her on the cover of Vogue. It was a big deal to put Serena on the cover. It was important for Serena at that moment because she was feeling a little down, and it was just uplifting. It was a great thing. I was really proud of Anna Winter for putting her on the cover. So when Pirelli happened,
Ela está contando como foi colocar a Serena Williams na capa da Vogue América, que ela fotografou. E agora, como foi a foto com ela para o calendário?
In Vogue, there's a little picture on the floor, homage, where the dress is off, and you see her back, and you see her body. And I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I promised Serena we'd get her in and out, within the hour, and I didn't want to struggle with that photograph, and I saw that photograph of Serena when I photographed her with a beautiful dress on, and she had a great sense of dance, and I said, oh my gosh, you're like Martha Graham, you're so beautiful the way you're standing like this in this dress. And she said, Annie, I dance every day. So I'm probably not answering her question.
That's a very good answer there. Talked us through the Serena decision. I think that was the basic thing there. And we're going to take one question from this side, and then I'm going to ask all four of you just the final a statement about what you think your part in this means, and overall what you think the calendar will do. So yes, everyone on the left.
Yes, good morning. My name is Cecilia Lucia Puig from Buenos Aires, Argentina, Channel 26, Canal 26. The question is for Annie. I would like to know what is your vision about the women's role today, and what are your expectations about the final outcome of this Pirelli calendar 2016 to the world?
I don't know. It's been put out into the world the way it is. It's like I'm not expecting anything more than I know it's down a different track for Pirelli, but it's not. It's these women are all accomplished, and I just think that it will be what it will be. I mean, I'm not really being very good. Agnes, you say something about the calendar. You're so good.
For me, the calendar was really about love, and I'm going to probably burst into tears. But I love my grandchildren so much, and I know it's trite to say, but it's much better being a grandmother than it was a mother. And I think that I loved having that she had us together and had us hugging each other, because our family does lots of hugging, and it really made me happy about that, and happy about having that element in the calendar.
It's so beautiful. But I was just thinking about Amy Schumer. The thing that was important about Amy Schumer, and that it was like the last photograph, is that it was a concept. It was sort of like yes, it was as if she, didn't get the memo, but if you look at her, she's like, that was a true moment. She actually picked up the cup of coffee and started drinking. That was her coffee, and I said, that's it. It's like, it's this kind of laissez-faire, like, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. The important thing is that no one was supposed to look like they tried in these pictures. It was supposed to be very straightforward, and not that it was effortless, because it wasn't effortless, but it was more of a presentation of each person.
But that in itself is actually a statement, and it's a statement about women as much as anything, that you can still look strong and powerful without necessarily having tried so hard. Do you know what I mean? That you can.
Yeah, I think these women are beautiful. Yes,
Yeah.
they're all, every single one.
Agnes has summed it up as being about love. Tabby, how would you sum up your role in this and the calendar in entirety?
Well, I'm just extremely honored to be among this group of women and such a range of accomplishments. And my work with Rookie is about creating a community where different kinds of young people feel accepted and like they can find a kindred spirit and encouraged to create. So hopefully my inclusion in this speaks to that.
Agnes,
几十年来，贝奈利年历对女性的性感都一直有着自己非常深刻的一个认识。我觉得我也是很荣幸，也是被安妮选择，是被这个时代选择。在今天能够参与拍摄这一年的贝奈利年历，被记录下来。我想今天我刚才看见视频里头的这一次的所有的女性，每一个依然很性感，然后但同时我们又看到的是她们的思想，然后她们的头脑。我觉得，我还是那句话，就是我是其中的一份子，我感到非常的骄傲。
That is incredibly well put, and particularly their mindsets as well, their brains. And Patti Smith, as she said in the film, it's about being peaceful within and without. Thank you so much for all of your questions for coming today. And a massive thank you to Annie, to Agnes, to Tavi, and to Yao for answering those questions. Upstairs in the press room on the first floor, where obviously you can find your copy and file your photos as well. Tavi and Mr. Tronchetti are both available for one-on-one interviews. So if you would like to take advantage of that, then make yourself known to the team at the back there, and they will take place up on the balcony. Thank you so much to Pirelli. Thank you to all of you for coming, and thank you to Annie Leibovitz for creating something beautiful. Thank you.
Tirar o fone para ouvir o mandarim. Ah! Olha, esse é um calendário, na verdade, que tem muito dessa coisa do empoderamento da mulher, né? São mulheres totalmente fora do padrão, de todas as idades, de todas as raças e todas as cores. A Anne é uma gênia e eu acho que a Pirelli quebra muitos paradigmas quando ela faz essa escolha. E estou muito feliz de estar aqui em Londres acompanhando o lançamento, tá? Vou mostrar para vocês mais umas imagens do lançamento aqui e daqui a pouco tem todas as fotos do site, tá? Não percam. Beijo grande de Londres, olha só. Ó. Gente, eu tenho que ligar. Olha, um beijo para vocês. Espero trazer muitas novidades de Londres e aqui do lançamento Pirelli. Hoje à noite vai ter uma festa de gala, tá? Eu vou estar lá. Quem sabe role uma transmissão ao vivo também mais tarde, tá bom?